Welcome and thank you for choosing True Grit, the show about what it really takes to rise, rebuild, and stay the course when life hits hard. I'm Kalish Morrow, a coach, storyteller, and believer in the kind of strength you can't fake. Around here, we talk about real people, real stories, and the lessons that shape us, from resilience and mindset to health and healing, because grit isn't about grinding harder, it's about who you become when you don't quit. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome. Today, I'm going to get a little crunchy on you. I'm going to probably ruffle some feathers with what I have to say, but it needs to be said. Today's topic is going to be about aging and the learned helplessness and false acceptance that we tend to have when it comes to aging. And this starts as early as our 30s and continues on up. Now, before I get into the whole it's never too late kind of thing, I want to start with just a very quick story of what spurred this conversation on for me today. And I was thinking about how I just saw a friend of mine post the other day. He had a childhood friend come and visit him. And he posted up about, the great experience and stuff. However, every time they were going out to eat, they would then have to come home and take naps because he's gotten so old now. Can you guess how old he is? He is the same age as me and as my husband and I. He's in his early 40s, and we don't seem to have that same problem that he does. We've talked about this numerous times, but that shows a very big difference in what's possible when you do take care of yourself versus somebody who does not take care of himself. I will caveat this too. When there is acute injuries that have happened, it definitely becomes significantly harder to maintain that more useful vibe, that youthful energy. But that's also should be a catalyst to putting in more effort. And I am the living example of that, given my past experience with 2 autoimmune diseases when I was a child. The rheumatoid arthritis that I experienced at an early childhood definitely left a lot of damage to my joints too. So I get that it's not going to be the same across the board. I work with other people too who definitely have some really serious concerns around their joints and how to support it and what they would have to do. But for the sake of this conversation, let's just talk about the general population though, and what we can do to help slow down that aging process and perhaps even reverse it as well. I have another quick little story about just how much it permeates our society where we don't really, to be quite honest, we aren't honest with ourselves about what we're doing, how we aren't actually taking care of ourselves. And this quick little anecdote was from when I was bartending fairly recently, and I was at a dive bar. Loved working at a dive bar. It was great. We had great regulars there too. A lot of them would be retirement age or close to retirement age that would be in there pretty often. Dare I say, every day. Yes, that happens. I overheard one of their conversations. One of the guys was talking about how he was just getting his blood work back and how his cholesterol wasn't looking the greatest and things have been trending towards the not so good range. And one of the other guys pipes in and goes, well, you know what that reason is, right? And I'm like, oh my God, are they actually going to address the elephant in the room that they are in here every single day? It's a smoke-filled bar too, which again, why I needed to get out of there for myself, but it was fun while it lasted. Anyway, they're in there every single day. Are they going to talk about that? No. What the other guy told his friend, what he said to him was, well, you know what that is? You're just getting older, man. And the other guy went, yeah, you're right. It's just how it is. Yep. And I'm just screaming on the inside going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, it's that you sit on a bar stool for several hours every single day, drinking all day long, not getting your exercise in. Most of the time, they would barely even eat. We weren't a bar that served food. We had chips and stuff. Jerky was the healthiest thing that was there. And usually whenever I would need a snack, because I was really good about bringing my own lunches and stuff. In fact, they would make fun of me about how I was always eating, yet I'm so tiny. And I'm like, it's what I need to do to maintain muscle. But I'm going to get on that subject later on. But they would sit there all day long and barely eat. They drank their calories and they would have chips, and that's just how it was. I think that they would wake up, maybe have breakfast, and then when they got home, they some dinner or whatever that would look like. And I mean, I'm saying this with love because I really, really love them. It's just a really good example of what permeates our culture. And that might seem a little bit more on the extreme side of just being, the daily barfly. However, we can also be honest and think about how much screen time we get, how sedentary we have become, how much we don't take care of ourselves, that the drive through is the easy option. And we're eating high carbs and all those sorts of things. So that's a really, really big aspect of all of this thing, all of these. The other thing, though, as I'm saying, is that we just have been programmed to think that aging this way is inevitable. Aging in a way where we are going to be dependent on our loved ones once we hit a certain age, some sooner than others. And I can say this from when I was in interior design. I had whole courses that talked about what's called aging in place, which means as a homeowner, whatever, people were starting to design their homes around what life will look like for them in the next 10, 20 something years. So thinking of long term. I mean, at the time, I was thinking, oh, this is really smart. And a lot of the designs are just like so beautifully executed too, where you don't even realize that it's for you when you get older. So like curbless showers where there's no threshold that you have to step over. There is the paddle switches where you just have to push the bottom of it rather than like an actual flippy light switch. That's another one. Certain types of handles too, where it's not a knob, but a handle. There are a lot of things that people are doing. Oh, and even like a raising sunken living rooms, things like that, where you aren't having multiple levels. All of those things, it just seems like it's such smart design. But what you're doing is increasing or speeding up time for yourself, because now you have eliminated those movements, those everyday movements that even though it's not gym time, it's still something that puts a little bit of strain on the body. So by removing those little barriers and making life easier sooner, you're actually speeding up your potential to be living like you're much older. Okay. Hopefully I explained. So this occurred to me when we were buying our house. And as you can see behind me, if you're watching this on video, I'm in our office. Every single one of our rooms has steps down into them. And what was really interesting, if I can segue real quick on how this house is, it is everything I wanted in a house. It's just the craziest thing. I still have work to do, especially my past interior designer is just like craving to get a hold of certain areas and spruce them up. I've got the backdrop over here that I want to do some things to make it more interesting when I am podcasting, aside from when I'm in here working. But I digress. This house is up on stilts. We're in southern Louisiana. We are right next to the river. It does flood. Last year it flooded during the hurricane. That's another story for another day. I can't wait to share that one actually with you. That one was cool. Keeping a positive outlook on that. But it's up on stilts, which means you need stairs to get up to just the main level. There's a spiral staircase, which can be a little treacherous too. We definitely can't have more than one person on it. And the way it was designed back in the 70s, there's a lot of risk of head injuries too. We've laughed about needing to have a waiver whenever friends and family come over just to go and traverse the stairs and walk around in certain areas. But now that we're living here, it just becomes second nature because we've learned to dodge in certain things without even thinking of it. But aside from the potential for head injuries, there's a lot of stairs. And we were talking our main living areas. We're talking about getting up and down into our bedrooms, even into the bathrooms too. They're all stairs everywhere. And you would think that as we're buying our forever home at the age of 40, that would probably scare a lot of people. But we're not concerned. I mean, if something major happened to one of us where we weren't able to get up and down the stairs because of an acute injury, that's a discussion for another day. But as far as how we will carry ourselves into our later years, my husband and I are very much, I would say gym rats, but I don't even want to say that because I don't want to scare people away. My husband a little bit more so. I have to kind of dial him back because he'll start complaining about how he's, not sleeping well and stuff. And that's usually from overtraining. Opposite problem of what a lot of people will have, not getting into the gym enough. But I'm in there about 3 days a week. And I can say though that has done wonders for our joints. It's more than just being in shape and feeling good in your skin. It's just knowing that you have the potential for maintaining your independence for the rest of your life, however long that may be. It's the until. I see people in their 90s and beyond, even into their hundreds that are still getting up and down and whatever, as long as you stay active. So the moral of the story is the gym is the fountain of youth. And lifting iron is the secret ingredients in this fountain of youth. And it's made me so passionate about wanting to teach people these things so that we don't have to suffer as we get older. Let's get out of suffering. Why are we accepting that? Why? Because it's so much easier to sit on our phones and scroll, or because we're just sitting there telling ourselves that we're going to be so much happier and enjoying life more if we don't have to change our lifestyle. I like the lifestyle that I have, yet we're still going to be complaining about getting out of bed in the morning because our backs hurt. And I have to take a nap after I eat my lunch or whatever. Like how is that enjoying life? Let's be honest with ourselves. Can we be honest with ourselves? Are we truly enjoying and living our lives, or are we making an excuse? I will tell you from experience is the excuse seems like the easy way out, but it's such a disservice to ourselves. We are making such a disservice by putting out there that this excuse of I'm not going to change my lifestyle. I'm not going to worry about going to the gym. I like my life the way that it is, and I don't want to give up anything that I love. Well, do you love being in pain? Do you love the idea that there might be a day where you have to check yourself into an assisted living facility, a nursing home? Is that the kind of life that you really want to be living in your later years, in your golden years, where we work so hard to get to retirement? When we get to retirement, we're not even going and enjoying those things. I'm hearing people where they're planning some trips and then they're talking about, well, this will be the last like long flight type of trip, out of country trip that I take. I can't take sitting in the airplane any longer than that after this point. So I'm going to tough it out so I can do that. Like, we're not living our lives anymore. So isn't it worth it? Is it not worth it to put in that extra effort and learn how to create some balance, some harmony in our lives between the things that we want to be doing and also bringing in these practices, the resistance training, the healthy eating, like let's get a hold of whole foods. I've got all kinds of other podcasts that I will be elaborating on that more to help guide you through some of these other things. But if you take away anything from this today, it is to start resistance training, start lifting some weights, learn some functional workouts. So squats, some bench press, overhead press, the deadlifts, and bent over rows. I should be able to just rattle these off without even having to think about it. But I'm thinking about how we can adapt that to just like starting off easy. And that can go anywhere from up to doing a barbell or getting resistance bands. So if you're just starting off, resistance bands are great. If you want to go a little bit more, you can get a set of, I love adjustable dumbbells. I have a pair of them. They usually sit in my closet for when I just want to do quicker at-home workouts and not have to go all the way into the gym. And they range from just as light as, a few pounds on up to 50 pounds each. They're great. They're great space savers. I would highly suggest investing in a set like that. But then there's also going into the gym itself, or if you have an at-home gym, getting the squat racks and getting a barbell. But doing that, increasing your protein to help support that muscle growth, help support your joints. And oh my God, if I can go and do a quick little segue onto that too. Joint health comes from movement. So to circle back to what I was saying earlier about the design of the houses and where we were eliminating steps and just simple little things, we're limiting our mobility, and that's what it comes down to. We're limiting our mobility, and or the phrase that physical therapists like to use is motion is lotion. So as you move your joints through, rotating your wrist and getting up and down in lower positions, squats and those sorts of things, those are going to help your joints. There is an egg-like fluid that's in your joints. It's called synovial fluid. You can think of it like hydraulic fluid, where it is giving that glide on your joints. And as you move that, you increase the quality of that fluid in there. So for example, when I've gone on flights, like long flights, I have a hard time sitting there for long periods of time. I have now learned though that I need to get that motion going, and I will often get up and start doing some air squats on those long flights. Nobody's caring. They all understand. They're all antsy too, so don't feel self-conscious about it. Or you can go back near the bathrooms. What you do is bunch of just squats, like get down really low, tense up the joints, get up and down, and that will help out with that stuff. But just making sure that you are still doing movements and rotations and activating the joints like that, you're going to help preserve them. I feel like I got a little onto a tangent, but it just shows how important movement is. And we live in a sedentary lifestyle. We live a sedentary lifestyle that has come to ignore that. That has not made that a priority anymore. But to summarize, muscle is medicine. We don't have to age and become decrepit. We can age and still maintain a very high quality of life well into our golden years. I'm not even going to say an age that's old or anything like that. That's just, it is in the head. I'll probably have a different outlook on that once I do reach those ages, but I am going to be so grateful for myself at that point for all the work that I'm doing right now. I already know that I'm doing what needs to be done considering how much damage I've had on my own joints and what I've been able to recover because of the things that I've gone over with you today. Hopefully this lands with you. Sorry it's a little crunchy, but you probably needed to hear it. A lot of us do need to hear it, and I wish I would have heard this stuff a long time ago. I would have been so better off years and years ago had I known this stuff. So anyway, that's it for now. Take care. Hit me up if you have any questions. Thank you so much for being here on True Grit. I truly appreciate it. If this episode sparked something in you, share it, subscribe, or leave a quick review. It helps more people find these conversations. For more ways to connect, head to true-grit.fitness or come say hi on Instagram at true.grit_bold.wellness. I'll see you next time with more stories, lessons, and a little bit of grit.